What's going on, everyone? This is the Rockness Monster here, and today I have a very different video talking about my personal computer, which is the Alienware Aurora R5. This is kind of an upgrade and aftermarket build guide if you ever get into where you want to upgrade the computer, put in new components, new processor, graphics card, cooler, power supply. I've done all that in addition to another drive as well. So I feel like this will be a good guide, just talking about the parts I have in mind, and I also have a video at the end of this short little discussion. Not sure how long this is going to last talking about it, but I have a video of me actually installing the parts, sort of, just kind of pointing out places where to go and like if things will fit, etc. So yeah, let's go ahead and get right into it and talk about the parts I got in mind. I have a Corsair H80 and EVGA GeForce GTX 1070 Superclocked Black Edition. The really great card. It just doesn't have the back plate, which the normal Superclocked has on it. Makes it about 10-15 bucks cheaper. No difference in performance. That's the one I got because it's less money. So. And I also have installed a Samsung 850 Evo solid state. I didn't put that in the thumbnail because I felt like it wasn't really necessary, because you know where the solid state drive slots are in the computer. They are there and there at the bottom. Probably got a little circle up on screen or whatever. But I also have the what is it? EVGA 750 GQ power supply. It's semi-modular. So the only thing not modular about it is the actual braided cable that powers the motherboard, which you never even have to worry about being modular, I feel like, because it's necessary and you're always going to have to use that in pretty much every case I can ever think of. So it's really nice to have that feature fully modular, and I got it for like 80 bucks on Newegg at the time, so it was a really good price on those. So those are the parts that are in there. If possible, I would highly recommend getting a Corsair H80 after installing the H60. I know it was smaller at the time when I purchased. I wanted to be safe as possible, and I thought a liquid cooler is a liquid cooler. It's going to do great. That's not necessarily the case. You get the performance, which I mentioned a lot in the video, the performance of a 240 millimeter radiator in a 120 millimeter size, because the thickness is just really thick on that H80 Corsair. So if you can find double thickness, a double thick 120 millimeter radiator to put in there, I highly recommend it. But I use the H60 to be on the safe side, since I really didn't see many. There's like maybe one thread or forum online that talked about it. So I felt safe just getting one that I maybe heard very little about. So that's what's in my system. So I'm gonna go ahead and I guess switch the video over for you guys. I apologize for the poor quality. I've been recording off my phone. Don't have a good camera, but if this video does well, and I might have more videos like this out soon, then I'll invest into a decent recording camera for video. So yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning into this, and I really hope I help you out. If there's any comments you guys have or questions, feel free to leave them down below. I'll help you out the best I can, reply as soon as possible. So yeah, I hope this helps you out and you enjoy it. This is my Alienware Aurora R5. Pretty new. I got it back in, I believe it was June or July, whenever it was released. It's my first actual gaming PC. I made the mistake of buying a pre-built instead of a custom, but I've learned from that, and this is what I'm with now. If you take some looks at it though, it's not really your standard, and there's my graphics card, also a 980 Ti that I've been using lately. This video is going to be showing you my custom Alienware Aurora R5 that I've done upgrades to, tried to figure out what's compatible with it, and how to get a new processor in there with an aftermarket liquid cooler. So I'm going to kind of show you guys how it's set up. Not really a full build video. I don't have the setup to record that. I'm just going to show you my setup and maybe help some of those out that are trying to add on to this pre-built machine and upgrade it, because I've it's a substantial improvement from what it was initially when I bought it. I bought a kind of a mid-range, cheaper option, which was, even at the price that it was extremely overpriced, and I've learned from that mistake now. But for anybody that has money to fork out, likes Alienware, likes a pre-built, then this isn't a bad choice. If you want to do upgrades, it's pretty easy to get into. Got the hatch here, and I'm going to be reinstalling my cooler with some new thermal paste and another fan for it, and using this bracket here. It's going to secure everything right up in the top right here, and it's actually a perfect fit for the 120 millimeter radiator I have on this Corsair H80. It's not the best at cooling. It's about on par with a Hyper 212 Evo. Really good, cheap air cooler. One I would use, but see, this thing right here closes down, and there's absolutely no room for an air cooler in there other than a stock, and I need more power than a stock on a 6700K processor. So let me reopen this really quick, and I'll just show you something. I do have an aftermarket sound card. It is a Asus Zonar DGX. Really good audio quality to power my Sennheiser headphones. Needs a amp, more power than what comes with it. And I do have a solid state, not in these slots because I couldn't really get it to fit from the cables here, or I could, but it wouldn't connect from the hard drive right here. So actually, I decided to slip it down right in this gap, and it fits snugly and perfectly. And I have an aftermarket power supply in here as well. So this is just kind of like a tutorial on what you can put in the system. Again, I'm not going to go through the process of putting this back in there, because my God, getting this wired in and actually kind of having it a little bit, let me open it back up a little bit. Actually having it neat in there, somewhat neat, to where I can access all my components easily, and it's pretty well organized for the fact that there's no like back panel that I can move off and like cable manage with. So the fact that I got that fucking thing with full size wires and cables in there, I'm not doing that again. But I will show you how my 1070 goes in there. This 980 Ti fits in there perfectly, and I actually have a video comparing these two that I'm going to be doing soon, really comparing the beasts. The only reason I have this, I had this initially, the 1070. I found an amazing, absolutely amazing deal that I'll talk about later in another video on this 980 Ti Golden Edition. That'll come later, but it's just, that's why I have two of them. If you're wondering, why the hell does he have a 1070 and a 980 Ti? They're basically the same thing. I'll explain. But let's go ahead and pop this puppy in there, and I'll show you guys whenever it's installed. Alrighty, I got the H60 liquid cooler installed. The radiator is right here. It's a little loose right now. I know it's a little hard to see, I apologize. But yeah, the Corsair's logo is turned this way instead of up and down. Not a big deal, because if you actually have it facing the other way, you'd have to tilt the pumps, wire the cables or hoses get a little wonky and tangled. So last time I did have it facing the wrong direction, and it put a lot of strain on the hoses from this bad boy pushing down on them. And I'm pretty sure with this now, it is a really smooth and easy close. I don't feel any resistance coming back from the hoses too much that I can tell. So yeah, that is installed. There is actually a little bit of pressure being applied by this, but it's not too big of a deal to where it's gonna like cause a leak or anything like that. And I believe I actually can play with these hoses a little bit and get them facing a different direction if need be. But for right now, it's pretty well adequate for what I needed to do. So I'm gonna go ahead and get the bracket installed, the mounting bracket, and maybe this second fan, I'm not sure. I do have the fan attached to the top of the radiator in a pull out of the system manner, so the airflow is moving out, moving all the hot air out through the radiator, but that is still, I mean, airflow is airflow, so it's gonna keep that radiator pretty cool. I do recommend, if you are watching this video for this purpose and installing a liquid cooler, that you have to take this bracket off first. But when it comes to a liquid cooler, try to avoid the H60. It does not keep temps ideal if you're overclocking. I have pushed this to 4.5 gigahertz. I don't want to go any past that because that's dipping, not dipping, but it's spiking into the 80s on stress test fairly quickly. So I'd recommend the Corsair H80, H80i, whatever it is now, but the H80 model, because that has a double thickness of the normal 120 millimeter radiator. So it's a 120 size, supposedly 240 performance millimeter radiator. So you're gonna get a lot more cooling out of that if you are planning to overclock, and you should be if you're getting an unclocked processor anyways. So yeah, I'm gonna finish installing that and show you guys what it looks like then with the other fans. All right, I got that other fan installed and the bracket installed right here. Wires are not the prettiest in the world, but this is going to be covering up anyways. So I'm like this right here, the power supply box or swing arm, whatever you want to call it, is going to be covering up. I'm not too worried about that. If you're looking at the inside of a case and want it to be pretty, you can paint these black, tuck them away somewhere like over here since it's plugged in. I mean, that's normally, sorry, over there. I'm not looking at the camera, I'm looking at trying to tuck these. But yeah, I kind of have the mentality of just tuck it somewhere where it's out of the way. Oh yeah, already looks great. So yeah, CPU, water coolers installed. I am going to give some tests and put them up on the screen now on how the temperatures were after 10 minutes in prime 95 on the maximum heat output stress test. And the compound I'm using is IC Diamond. It will focus. Does it want to focus? It does not want to focus. It's 7 carat. Yeah, there it goes. Yeah, you see it. 7 carat diamond thermal compound. It's not real diamond, but it's synthetic. But yeah, so it's good. I got it was like $8 for this stuff. So I mean, this is recommended from the place I went to. But yes, so this is my Alienware setup. The motherboard is actually decent quality, surprisingly, even though it's a Dell Alienware. It does have an M.2 slot down here. Board it's pretty sturdy. Like, I don't feel any flex whenever I put any pressure to it or anything. It is probably under a lot of stress also with this these brackets from the liquid cooler on there. I have already had this installed previously and it was running a little hot. That's why I wanted to put it in, get some new thermal paste on it versus the stock, which just has a thin layer. Kind of rework how it is because I had the hose pinched a little bit. I had the hose going the other direction. But like I said, if you're doing this to your Alienware system, try and get the H80. That would be much better cooling quality than an H60, which is just semi-adequate. This 6700K is going to be coming out of this system before too long, because I am upgrading cases and motherboard and everything, so it'll be more responsive and quicker boot times. I mean, it's really convenient having this computer, but I'm going to be doing a full EVGA build to match my 1070 here, which is the 1070 Superclocked Black Edition. Only difference is it doesn't have the back plate. Oh God, I about dropped it. Okay, let's set that down. I don't want to break a 1070 on camera here. But yeah, this thing, I mean, it's a beast really. It does get a little loud when I overclock and have it cooling, and I have had this in my system for the past 2 weeks or so, and the performance jump from this to this is maybe like 6 or 7 frames in games. Like jump, but drop. Sorry. Let me make that clear. This is 980 Ti, and that is a 1070 there. And this is a little better performing, but I'm going to be doing some benchmarking soon in another video. I'll just go through everything really quick, review here, pop my graphics card back in. Let me do that. And the 1070 is back in the system. So yeah, there we go. These are all aftermarket parts, including the cooler, which is clear because it's Corsair, not an Alienware. But if you already have the i7 in your build from Alienware with a liquid cooler, it's most likely going to be identical to this. I'm not sure if it's 120 millimeter radiator or the 120 double, which has like the 240 for performance. I'm not sure about that. Don't quote me on that. But yeah, this is the aftermarket 1070. It's the cheap, like at the time it was, I got it for I think $389, so a really good price on a 1070. And I actually got the processor for $300, both new, unused, really good deals that I found on those. And sound card, great sound quality. Again, this is the 750 watt I put in here. Let's just make sure she's gonna close all right. Do feel a little bit off, just because I'm not pushing down together. But yeah, she closes just fine. And cable management is all right here, really. I just kind of tuck the wires in, hide it out of sight. It's a little ugly, but for the most part, for it being this compact of a system, cable management is decent on this computer. So yeah, there's the Alienware Aurora R5, custom, fully aftermarket, no longer bare bones. So yeah, if you guys like this video, you'd like to see something similar to it in the future, setups, benchmarks, I mean, I have plans for other systems I'm going to be doing. If you like this, feel free to leave me a like down below. It really helps me out. My last video I did like this got the most views on the channel, so I guess people like tech reviews and tutorials and stuff like that. So yeah, if there's any questions you guys have in the comments, feel free to hit me up. Yeah, if you're new, subscribe. Helps me out. I have other gameplay stuff going on all the time, really. But yeah, thank you guys so much for coming. This has been the Rockness Monster, and I'll see you guys very soon.